First few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome back to Ultimate Canada's coverage of the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships live from Ajax, Ontario. We got the number 9 seed école Mitchell-Montcalm Cavaliers from Sherbrooke, Quebec in the dark jerseys, taking on the number 16 seed, the Merivale Marauders out of Ottawa, Ontario. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine. An exciting matchup to finish the day because there's a lot of pool implications here, folks. A three-way tie could potentially be forced here, depending on what happens. This match. Lots to be looking forward to.
And I will say maybe we're assuming that seeding holds up in the other game that we're not broadcasting. It is a 1 seed versus a lower seed. So, you know, maybe a benefit of the 1 seed. I'm not writing out anybody. But seeding holds up. This game is paramount for these teams.
Sturgeon took down Merivale early in 8, but then Mitchell-Montcalm took down Sturgeon 8-6. So close matchups to be had there. And now this sets up this pivotal contest. Your observers for this matchup, Glenn Ford sprinting out on the field and Justin Lee. They've been out here going to work all day. Team Orange making sure play continues to move on quickly and calls are resolved in a timely manner. We're excited to bring you this matchup because it is the future of Ultimate. We appreciate you tuning into the High School Ultimate Championships. You'll see a lot of these players out at the club championships or the juniors in August in BC. Merivale in white starting out in a zone look. Not sure if Mitchell-Montcalm adjusted to it right yet because it looked like they were trying to run a pull play. And now they're settled into their set here. Rob Paquet has the disc. Looking for some options, finds a teammate there. Disc not really moving laterally right now for the Cavaliers. And that generates a turnover, so Merivale knocking on the first point break here. The lefty finds a team for the score. McDonald Lagasse had hit Timothy Blair, but there is some discussion here, so don't march off the field just yet.
Observer on site, getting some insights here and discussion with the players. Disc is going back.
Going back to McDonald Lagasse here. Shifty lefty right now with the disc for the Ottawa side.
Just clarifying the stall count. Can see Mr. Ford coming in just to clear that up.
The back doesn't hit him. Needs an option. And they do end up getting the score. It is credited now with a point. And Merivale gets on the board first.
Yeah, the Marauders come out in zone. Maybe this is an Ottawa thing, shall we say, because we saw an Ottawa team earlier throw the zone on and really switch. But Marauders, it worked. Throw the zone on, turnover right in front of the end zone, punch it in. We also saw the Sherbrooke team, the Cavaliers. They came out. They didn't look to handle the zone. The disc wasn't moving left to right too much to make the cup move and wear them out. But the handlers also looked like they were a little bit surprised maybe by the zone. So hopefully they're ready for it. See just that on this coming point.
We'll see. And along with Maud Prévost, the two coaching staff members for the Cavaliers coming all the way from Sherbrooke, Quebec. We hope you tune into some of the past streams we've done today as well. We got a team from New Brunswick as well as a team from Manitoba. So just getting that geographic diversity, seeing the high school talent that's abundant across this country. And like I mentioned, you're watching a lot of the future players that will be suiting up for junior clubs this summer and beyond into adult as well, into the senior division. Cavaliers back on offense. That roll is going to bounce very friendly for them here, past half field.
Does tell you a little bit. The wind has picked up, you know, the result of the pull and the roll. It's been getting gradually stronger through the day.
Needs an option, finds a reset there. Breaking it to the backfield, not to the backhand side. Not sure who that was intended for, but Merivale is going to scoop it up regardless.
The handler really threw that with conviction. I thought there was a target down there. It was such a conviction throw.
And trading a short field here for the Cavaliers. Curling around just outside the end zone. Finding a teammate for the score is Moran. Moran's going to be a big time athlete for this Cavaliers squad, and he throws the assist.
See a couple of lefties already throwing for points today from the looks of it. It's always nice when you can have a lefty handler out there. We'll see if the Cavaliers out of Sherbrooke, if they can start to look a little more confident. They start to look a little better with their handlers, but they don't look as confident as some teams we've seen today. We'll see if that's just a product of a couple of the players that were out there, or maybe not ready for the zone.
Be interesting to see if the Cavaliers come out in a zone of their own here, going left to right on your screen. Leonard set to pull. Played for Titan and has siblings who have also played, and a sibling who's playing for Team Canada in Felix. So Felix, if you're watching, you get to see one of your siblings in action. Pretty cool to have the Leonard family represented. And we talked about this on a previous stream where there are other Team Canada athletes that previously played at these high schools. Logan Keeler, who's helping coach on the Merivale side, Team Canada U24 mixed player as well. So lots of Team Canada influence out here, Andrew.
Yeah, and you just saw Merivale there. One of the players that approached the pull just jumped over it and left. A little miscommunication that on who's picking the pull up and who's initiating the offense. They could clean that up a little bit, maybe get a free pass off of that to the center of the disc, start their offense a little earlier. You can see the hand signals on the handler. You know.
Leonard staying in bounds, finding it to this close sideline. Wapake. Wapake looking for a teammate that just bounced in and out of the hands of St. Laurent.
It was a nice cut, nice spot. If that connects, once they clean that up a little bit and it connects, there's some goals to be had.
Moran setting up the mark. He threw the assist earlier, trying to shut down this Merivale offense. Got the big lefty handler, and you mentioned those lefties can be tricky. And a jump ball here, it'll be smacked away. That's always a dangerous play there potentially, where there's just a lot going on and bodies bumping each other. Could be sometimes right for injury, but nothing happening there. Jack Beach with the throw, now back on the mark here. Really active on his toes. Spinning around is Moran. Finds Wapake. Wapake, number 24 in the dark jersey there. Holding the disc in a non-threatening throwing position right now. Then finds a teammate in Moran. Wapake going up line. So they're going to settle for a reset. Looking for, thought it was Leonard, but that throw sailing too high, but it's going to stay in bounds for the score. So Mitchell-Montcalm bouncing back, getting a break of their own.
Well done on the footwork. Looked like that might have been closer to the line than I think, but still the player was looking down, checking their feet just to make sure.
St. Laurent coming down with the goal. And we're back on serve here, Andrew.
So what I noticed on that play was the Montcalm handler had quite a size advantage on the mark, but didn't go in the end zone and try and take advantage of that. Stayed out to be a handler. That's something that Montcalm might be able to look to exploit later on is, yes, you might be a handler, but if you've got almost a foot of height on your defender, go for that end zone and try and get those high throws.
See Simon Martin discussing some instruction with his Cavaliers squad, and conversely on the other side, we see Logan Keeler out there trying to give some instruction along with the coaching staff from Brent Gerhardt and head coach Melanie McGinnis.
I tell you, the players are full of energy. They're getting out to the line in a real hurry and getting some good amount of time to talk to their coaches on the line so that they can address some strategy before they make the pull. So,
even though it's the last game of the day for everyone, it is full of energy here. You haven't had this championship since 2019. People are excited to be out and about at the from across the country. That's great.
Even just walking around the venue when we break for lunch, you can hear the excitement with the players. They're so happy to be back out at this type of event for the kids.
Great grab under pressure. Bezozi keeping it in bounds and also holding on to it. That's not easy. And that throw is caught. There was some happening downfield.
There's a lot happening on that
Brule
play.
Ferrer does come down with it, and it's 3-1 now.
So much happening on that play. A little contact on the front of the end zone that may have taken away the catch. Great follow-up for the catch and the goal in the end zone.
The break train is rolling right now for the Cavaliers. We see Prevo discussing things with the D squad. Merivale's offensive group walking back slowly, trying to discuss what's happening. Can they figure it out here? They played close with Sturgeon, as we mentioned, 10-8. An earlier matchup saw them go down to Adam Scott 12-6. Adam Scott also defeated the Cavaliers. They're the top seed for a reason we talked about, and they won 13-3. So we'll try to keep you updated on some of the action happening behind us as well with Adam Scott and Sturgeon, because that has implications. Top two making it to the bracket. The bottom two relegated to the consolation. So this game has a lot of high implications.
Yeah, and it's a good amount of parity in the pool. The games have been close, other than the #1 seed obviously has been taking care of business, but the other three teams have been playing close games. So it's meaningful games every time they play.
Labonte gonna pick up here for the Marauders. Tomas Labonte. Nice inside shot. The Oyo, as they call it, to Weeby, who tumbles down but keeps the disc. Trying to find Labonte, but it's smacked down by Leonard for good measure.
Yeah, I've seen these teams, they need to maybe focus a little more on their spacing. They're crowding the handlers. We just saw that came in hot, but the receiver was only 3 yards away from the handler. That's pretty tough to make that catch.
Play's going to come to a temporary halt here as a double team is mentioned here by Christophe Morin. Dual sport athlete playing the sport of football as well.
Is that football with the feet, or is that football with the pigskin?
That's actually a good clarification, because it sounded like they were talking he played football with the pigskin because they were saying he's a big athlete. So it could be American football. Swing it to this side to Leonard. Leonard hits Drouin. Drouin letting the zone set here. Got to get rid of it quickly, but instead it's going to hold it for a little bit. Find Morin. We've seen teams struggle to get to the far side. We saw that in the last stream as well. Teams will be well pressed to be able to do that. Looking backfield. Quick snappy throw there from Jelinek.
And even as I was saying, Theo, you look at the spacing, that handler came right in behind the disc. You know, we want to spread the field if you can, and look how close the handlers are. If you really want to make that cup work, you got to get out wide by the sidelines and really get those swing passes. Or go over the top with a hammer, that works too.
Drouin catches the hammer from Moran. Has options, going to do a couple fakes. Bisson finds his teammate for the score and break. That's Jerome Bisson finding Christophe Morin, and it's 4-1 for the Cavaliers.
So you could see the offense almost stalled a little bit as we were talking about the field spacing, and yes, it was almost a 3-on-1, I believe, downfield when that hammer went up, so good chance your guy's going to catch that if there's only one defender, but you know, you don't want to rely on that as your way out of a zone. They need to spread the field, start getting some lateral movement, and make that cup move. The cup for Merivale hasn't had to move to chase a disc or shut it down. It's stayed pretty stationary. So that'll be something that they'll want to work on for their offense on the Cavalier side.
Yeah, put on your coaching hat here, though. If you're the Marauders, you're down 4-1, giving up a couple of breaks. It looks like they're not going to call a timeout. Would you call a timeout in this situation, or you're going to keep things status quo here?
As I've said a few times, try and let my players work through some of their kinks and what's going on in the field. Call a timeout only when absolutely necessary. I'm not going to say at 4-1 it's absolutely necessary yet. What I would say from the offensive side is, again, some spacing, crowding the handlers for Merivale, but also they've got the disc into the hands of a couple of players that don't look as confident throwing the disc, and you might want to think about who's receiving at what area of the field, because if you're going to put someone who's not confident into a position that they're not confident, you're not looking for success necessarily. So get the handlers, people that are more comfortable with the disc, and hit the cutters downfield a little farther.
3-3-1 zone set looks like from the Cavaliers. Cam Brown now with it. Finds Liu. Ariel Liu dishing it. And a little every other here for Cam Brown. Playing for Ignite, Ottawa's top junior open team. Maybe perhaps a little too fast there from Caro. Clapping his hands in frustration, but ready to play some for this Marauders team. Chiquan telling his players to come in a little bit shorter here. We got someone going deep. He's going to dial up the big lefty backhand. Looking for Gagné. Gagné putting his arms up, but it's going to be the defender in coverage knocking it down. Andrew Young.
Just so you know, Theo, there are two 16s. I was looking earlier for the handler 16, so we've got a couple of 16. Yeah, one of them just made a nice D, and earlier with the handler had a nice break. So be wary.
Yeah, two 16s on the roster. Not sure how that works out, but
yeah, there she is, number 16. Was that Gauthier? Had a nice step through break earlier. You know,
16A and 16B perhaps as they work through the zone. Nice little feathery throw to Fan. Fan finds Young. Jumping for some extra steps is Cam Brown. Brown dialing up the flick, but it's eaten up in the air, drawing some oohs from the crowd. That was Chiquan out there, big time handler for them. Going to receive the disc back into their own end zone here. The lefty had a big backhand earlier, going to flick it out into space instead. Finds the target. And Cavaliers perhaps on the move here as Gravel resets it back to Chiquan. Good pressure defense. Maddie Davidson heard some go Maddies from the sideline. You see why. Pressuring through for the block. Brown shooting right away, but there is a call. I don't think this is going to stand here. Going to wait for some discussion to be had.
You can see the observer paused mid-signal.
I did see that. Glenn Ford there.
You know, you're talking about some of the oohs and ahs. I don't know if people might have heard the cowbell next door to us going as well. Like, the fans are getting into this.
That's what you want to see. I think one thing I really appreciate about this tournament specifically is the parental involvement, the people out here cheering and bringing the noise, both with audible, like with their voices, but also with some items that they bring. The cowbell, you got some other things going on. Players got the eye black. There's a little bit of fun to this tournament, of course, and players really showing off their personalities here.
Speaking of showing off, the athleticism, that sky in the end zone.
Chiquan, yeah.
Wow. Some good athletes.
And on Chiquan there, number 77 making the play.
Cavaliers have a couple of good athletes. They've started to show some of their hops. This is good. It's a pretty lengthy discussion. We also see a coach had come in. I think there might have been a translation request there or translation issue, but as long as we get everything right, that's basically what we want. Observers will sort that out and get the right call.
Disc is going to stay in the hands of Amélie Raymond. And it's actually going to be with the Cavaliers now. So it's a few calls back where something took place. Unfortunately, observers are mic'd up to each other, but not to us. So that's
yeah, that
always makes it
discussion
tricky.
would have been nice to hear.
Absolutely. So that's something that, you know, perhaps with future technology it could happen. Chiquan looking deep once again and trying to find the disc with Pomelo, but it's going to settle into the turf.
Yeah, I think the expectation was a much deeper throw. Get a little air under that thing. Perhaps with a shoulder check, he may have been able to come back and get that, but that would have been difficult.
Brown having to deal with this trap, goes reset right away, and they're going to swing it to this closer side. Gauthier to the other 16 and Young. Brown really facing that trap in that zone here.
I like Gauthier as a handler in the backfield. She's really a steadying force. She's stepping out, good form, good breaks, really driving the offense.
And as Gravel gets the block for the Cavaliers, they maybe should have listened to your advice there, because they were really trying to fit into that open side, and instead probably could have swung it to Gauthier, who could then swing it further and really change directions of the field here. Wah picking up here for the Cavaliers, looking for Chiquan, and just in and out of the hands. Good effort, but now they're on the move, are the Marauders. Young over to Brown. Brown, couple receivers in check. And Merivale will get the score. Nice way to peel off there from Carreau, letting his teammate come down with it.
So 4-2. Merivale didn't panic. Punched in the end zone, played a little fundamental frisbee.
Olivia Fan on the reception there. You saw how Carreau kind of did a mini jump there, saw a team in and coming behind and deciding to let her catch a disc. Sometimes we saw it earlier, and you've seen this throughout your career probably. Two players going after don't call each other, end up causing a turnover.
For sure. And even still, going up early also draws the defender to jump with you, right? Leaving your teammate to have a free catch behind you.
McDonald Legacy here set to pull, female matching side. Ratio out here for the Marauders.
Marauders getting a lot of instruction from one of their sideline.
Yeah, Logan
members
Keeler
here.
out there, yeah, the alum.
That's a lot of sideline chat. He must have good information. Let's see how well this plays out for them on D.
Yeah, he unfortunately lost a year due to COVID in terms of playing this tournament, so a little bit of a rebuilding time for them. Wapake going back to Leonard, who swings it to the far side. Wapake has been doing a great job offensively as a handler here in the backfield, really being a steadying presence. And as I say that, a run-through block from the Marauders. Andy Wu coming through.
Here we are. Gauthier in the middle. Just look, she seems so calm. Knows what she's looking for.
Played for Wicked West, and
as I say that, commentator curse again.
looking for Jason Tang, but throw sitting down there. Going right away is Wapake, and it's smacked away with authority by Kaylin Civic.
Yeah, the Cavalier cutter went too early and was waiting for the disc to get to him instead of timing his cut maybe a second or two later and running on to that disc. Allowed the defender to get in there.
Out of bounds called here. And it's going to give the Cavaliers a short field to work with here on offense.
It was a nice bit of zone defense. Really gave the handler nothing to look at.
Looking for the inside shot. Wapake going to the backfield, and that throw's not going to work out there for Bisson. One of the players who's played on this Fringance Sherbrooke Youth Club team out here. And for a lot of these players, they actually haven't played a lot of 7-on-7. Was told that they play a lot of 5-on-5 instead. So adjusting to the field and getting those nerves out early on. But now by the third game, you know, they're starting to settle in here. They're used to that style of ultimate.
And 5-on-5 will give you more touches in a practice setting and development opportunities, right? You're going to, more touches, more play.
Another nice grab to keep things alive, pointing and throwing that flick out into that space that she previously pointed to. Jelinek now looking for some options. Inside shot, there was a pick call, so St. Laurent's going to catch it, but not sure if this will remain with Jelinek. Or excuse me, with St. Laurent. Jelinek, the one throwing there.
Some discussion who and where the pick happened, I think. See a few confused looks in the middle of the field around the stack about who was actually picked. So I think I see it was coming in at 4 based on the observer signal.
Rachel Jones on the mark here for the Marauders. Jelinek throwing up a high stall throw. That's going to be trouble. But Wapake skying a pile here. See if there's going to be a call of some sort. McDonald Lagasse was involved. Making sure everyone's okay here. It was a high stall throw there from Jelinek.
I think we're waiting to see if there's a call. The observers look like they're ready to signal goal, but I think they're waiting to see if the players are actually going to make a call on that. And goal is signaled. So I think we just waited a few seconds for a little discussion among the players if there was actual contact or a foul before we get the confirmation from Team Orange.
I think it's always better to do that first before just declaring a goal. Don't want to be too quick. So, Paquet going up large, coming up 5-2.
I will say there may have been a touch of contact, but he also had pretty good body control and did control himself on that play. Looks like some roster shuffling or line shuffling going on.
You gotta love that.
Yeah, calling some players on, sending a couple off, so maybe the line's going in a blender here.
And you want to, if you could take half, I mean, 7-2, that's a pretty commanding half, so obviously you got to push for 2 more points here, but you want to put out a strong D-line, and Chiquan
Actually starting to spread their coaching out to both sides of the field to hopefully talk to their players, get them engaged. engage in the offense and get them moving a little bit more in the right direction.
You may notice all the players on the far side. That is on purpose, though, folks. It's just to give a clearer view for the live stream at home. Brown going big flick out here. And great help defense coming off the backside. But believe, looking to see if there's a foul call there. Looks like there is not. Great help there from Brule Ferrer. It's going deep and now chopping some yards underneath. But instead they're going to go for a reset to Trahan. Throw not going to stay in bounds. So Merivale, you got a short field to work with here.
And this is where I was saying maybe a little more urgency from Merivale. They've been gifted a short field. They really need to play with a little sense and punch this in.
Speaking of urgency, they do get the score right away to Andrew Young. Brown finds Young. Brown getting his second assist of the contest.
Yeah, Brown may have hung that a touch longer than he wanted to give that defender a chance, but good reception, and they really needed that point. I felt like the game might have been starting to slip away from them, so that hopefully gets them back on a little bit of a reset. Perhaps the coaching on both sides helped. We've noticed that the Marauders have been playing on this near sideline as you view. They are playing on this side of the field more often. So placing a coach on this half, you could see the coach. He was able to speak to his hand, alert them to reset opportunities and some upline opportunities. Merivale looks like they signal, yeah, scratching ahead for a second, but signaled readiness. There we go.
He continued to play somewhat of a factor. It's not like scorching hot, but it's definitely warmer than some of these weeks we've had in Ontario. So wind, not as much of, I would say the wind was a bit more of a factor earlier today. Would you say, Andrew?
I would. Even at the start of this game for about the first 5-10 minutes, we were sort of holding the tent here because the wind was picking up, but now we're back to a fairly calm day, so these teams should be able to move the disc pretty freely right now.
Zone look from the Marauders. Leonard getting a couple yards on the clap catch. Flipping it back to Morin. Morin and Leonard just working up the field. Little dishy throws. Now over to the far side.
You can see the top of the cup, the third player is really dropping back. It's almost a two-person zone. Sitting back.
That's McDonald Lagasse, who's kind of sitting back there in the middle of that two-person trap that they're trying to run. Slowing things down for this Cavaliers offense, which is not a bad thing right now. Sullivan here. Perhaps trying to go down the line. Needs some help now with the high stall. Finds Leonard, who was free open in the middle of the field. And scooping in right away. Great block there.
It was an excellent read coming through on the D.
Labonte trying to get the bookends. We're going to wait to see if there's called in. It is not. So Labonte going to reset it back right away. Good heads-up move, keeping things moving. McDonald Lagasse swinging it around. Merivale does, in fact, get the break.
Good textbook ultimate. Drop it off the cone, swing it straight across, into the end zone. Sounds so easy when you say it that way, right?
It does. It's easier for us up here in the booth to say these things than the high school talent making things happen. But right now, Merivale scoring 2 points in a row, reducing the Cavaliers' lead to 1. The Cavaliers electing to call a timeout right now. And we'll take a break as well. With the Cavaliers up 5-4. First half action coming at you from the Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. The last pool play game of the day, the Mitchell-Montcalm Cavaliers out of Sherbrooke, Quebec in the dark jerseys, receiving right now after getting scored on a couple times, trying to stem the tide here from the team in white, the Merivale Marauders. Theo 1 here with Andrew Portwine. Pleased to bring you some action all the way from Ajax, Ontario. Going deep right away and out of the hands of the defender, but that was for fan, but if the communication was off there, what happened?
Yeah, I just getting where standing, I thought I'd downfield, just get the camera pulled aside. There was no one down.
Saint Laurent was probably the intended, but instead Sullivan tries to get it, but it bounced out of the hands. A second effort block there for the Marauders.
Yeah, Davidson just making sure the D is down. That's what you want. Safety first.
And as the zone sets up. Crashing through. But the mark had stopped playing, so that's why Gauthier was just able to go free there, and I believe it was because the disc was out of bounds, giving the disc back to the Cavaliers. Leonard being guarded by Fan. Has a receiver going deep. Lots of players in the area, and Gauthier going to get the block. Flexing the muscles after.
Not just a good handler, good defender too.
Love the swagger Gauthier is playing with right now, getting the block and the flex. Fan been busy in the underneath space as a cutter. Needs a reset though. Couple players crashing through, finds Young.
Yeah, we've noticed Young, he's changed his throw after a couple of drops earlier, about 5 minutes ago. He's actually putting the nose of the disc up a little bit so the receivers don't have a bullet coming into them. Now they've been completing those passes down the far sideline.
Good concentration from Beach, allows them to break out here over to Fan. Fan looking for Beach, and Beach maybe going one direction, the throw going the other there.
We have a handler strike. No one with the disc. We had a handler strike downfield, just waiting for a goal.
Bisson still going to throw it deep. This one's going to hang up. Lots of contact. And Young's going to bat it to a Cavaliers player, and still not in. Sullivan receiving the pass from Jelinek. Sullivan then indeed finds his target for the score. So a long point for both teams. Gravel coming down with it. Excuse me, Desrousseaux. Ev Desrousseaux getting the point. And the Cavaliers take half.
Andrew Young, the effort, skies to get the D, and unfortunately kind of tipped it back to a opponent. And then the layout to try and D the front of the end zone. No lack of effort.
That break is, in fact, for half here as the Cavaliers are up 7-4. Some work to do here for the Marauders.
Should we go get our calculators, maybe check on the other field?
We will do that, and we'll give you all that right after this break. Second half action coming at you from Ajax, Ontario. We're live from the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. The Mitchell-Montcalm Cavaliers in dark. The number 9 seed up right now, 7-4 on the number 16 seed Merivale Marauders out of Ottawa, Ontario in the white jerseys. It's been an exciting first half. There were some changes of momentum, and Merivale was able to get a couple points in a row to try to stem the tide, but it's been the Cavaliers scoring the last 2 points, taking half 7-4. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine. Andrew, what have you seen so far in the first half, and what can Merivale do right now to get back into this contest?
I've actually seen both teams haven't panicked. Merivale was down a few points earlier and they didn't panic. They came back. I think they got it within 1 point. Played some good fundamental ultimate. They fixed a little bit of the spacing. They went through some of their stronger handlers. And then we saw a timeout called for the Cavaliers earlier, and they scored right out of it. Clearly some coaching magic worked on the sideline. So neither team has panicked when the score has been close, and they've executed when they had to.
This deep pull could potentially be trouble, but Brown finds Fan. Fan been all over the field right now offensively for this Marauders team, and Brown been a key backfield handler. Young now. Little push pass over to Brown. Goes inside over to Young. They're still keeping on this flick side, electing it not to work it to the backhand side of the field, and dangerous there for the Cavaliers. Chiquan makes sure with the double block, but you got to catch it the first time if you can, of course.
What I'd like to see is they actually got off the sideline. They went through the cup, but then the disc came right back to the sideline. They didn't look for the continuation swing to open the field up.
Blair was the intended receiver now on the. Chiquan doing a great job of that give and go. Big backhand flick as a lefty. Trying to get down to the break side, but Brown comes down with the block. You hear them telling them to hit Andrew, but instead it's Avery Liu. Ruled not in, so you see the observer, Justin Lee, shaking his head. Dishing it back to Brown. They're really squeezing this side of the field. Fan is open, not anymore. Liu also kind of the open side. All the different Marauders players trying to get to the open side, and Blair lands out of bounds.
Yeah, toe on the blue. Could even see that from here. Wait, disc is going back. What's the call on this?
It is in fact a goal. So some confusion on what happened here.
Jeez, wayward disc almost in our booth from the game behind us. Theo, you all right? Wayward disc almost hit us. So what's the intel we got? We have an observer helper here beside us.
Yeah, it's like we need like a. I'm trying to think of all the analysts that you know, those rules analysts in NFL broadcast.
Oh yeah.
Does any name come to mind?
We need a Steve Javy NBA rules analyst.
Yeah, we need someone out here.
So what's the insight?
Linda Kudo telling us it was a force-out foul there. So it is in fact a goal here for the Merivale Marauders.
Okay, good. That makes sense. Little confusion on that, 'cause I could clearly see the toe on the blue from our vantage point, and we're pretty far away.
Blair was part of that score and back out there ready to pull here for the Marauders. McDonald Lagasse remains or is back out there for this Merivale team. See Civic as well on this defensive point. Adam Vio, among others. Big flick pull here for the Marauders.
Good job knocking that down. We've seen teams today where they let it roll through and lose yards.
Vio setting the mark here. Another zone look from the Marauders. Morin. Fakes find Leonard. Leonard has looked very calm with the disc along with Moran and Wa Paquet.
I also like Leonard's spacing. She typically will come wide and actually space the field. You know, if she does get the swing, it's moving the cup. It's doing what she needs to do. And you can see she didn't follow the instruction to come closer. She wanted that swing. She knows what she's doing in her spacing.
Helps when you have two brothers that have played some high-level Ultimate here, and then some Team Canada, some junior club as well. So I think that's definitely in the genes, they say. Under the left free, and we'll take that pass. See if they can continue to work it to that far side of the field here. That zone pressure going to result in a turnover. Some discussion to be had. Moran with Civic.
Probably a good follow through the momentum, kind of led him into the defender.
Labonte coming through on line. High flick, but can't dial in with the receiver there. Moran jogging up to the line. I want to see some of the cutters downfield making some movement as well. It's been a lot of handler dishes back and forth for this Cavaliers team. Leonard, see if she can hit someone downfield. Fakes it. Instead, going to look back, reset here. Had Drouin, but Drouin continued to work his way downfield. Blair completely face guarding Drouin, causing some issues there. As this handler core for the Cavaliers trying to work it back and forth.
It's nice to see the fakes from the handlers as well. Like you can see Civic, number 15 in the cup. He's actually being moved off of his spot with the fakes. But they have to have someone to throw to when he moves through the cup, and they're not getting that help from behind the cup with these cuts coming in.
They have three very tall and long players out there for them. And getting a little impatient and then coming out with the block is Merivale.
Does that seem like a replay from the first half? I'm pretty sure we've seen that once or twice already this game. The nice run through from the deep read.
Now Labonte's been out there making some things happen, gets a diss now. Spinning around with some fakes. High stall. Forcing it through and some pressure from Moran. We'll see if there is a foul call there from VO. And there is no foul call.
No foul. I kind of thought there would be a foul call on that. Oh, quick turnover. Maybe that's the disc gods are speaking.
Spinning around for the score. Civic coming down with it.
So Theo, we looked at the other game at half just to keep it vague because we don't want to get into too much analytics. Seed
we don't want to get to an analytics podcast here or something, right?
Seed is holding in the other field, so the one seed is winning. So essentially in this game, Merivale has to take care of their own business, is what we're looking at, right?
That is correct.
Would you say that's a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. So
now we're at 7-6. Merivale hasn't panicked. They're coming back. But they need to take care of their own business. It's in their hands, basically, right now.
yeah, and they have to win by a certain amount as well. With Merivale having gone down to Sturgeon earlier by 2, and then the Cavaliers dispatching Sturgeon by the same score by 2.
Yeah, so, I mean, they don't know what's going on in the other game.
You don't want to let them know.
But they probably assume seed is holding. I mean, it is a 1 seed that's playing, so we have to assume they're a pretty strong team. So they know that they basically need to take care of their own business. They're playing like it. They've just put a couple on the board. They're keeping it close. So we'll see how the urgency starts to play out as time goes on in this game.
You have to believe the coaches know somewhat of what's happening there, and wanting to push them with a certain score. Even regardless of the score happening over here, you want to play your game, and you know that you can only control your fate, which is winning by a certain amount, if you can, of course. And so right now they're just trying to get the lead back.
And let's face it, the Cavaliers aren't going to let them win this. Like, they're still going to play hard.
Cavaliers are fighting for their own fate too. They could potentially, some weird things could happen, wacky things could happen as well. So they're battling as well. Cheekwan, vision, and great effort from Pomelo. That was great vision though from the lefty.
So here's Merivale's chance. They can possibly march this up and tie the game. We're looking at zone. Now let's see if Merivale can give that support from the cutters in the middle, as you said. Maybe we can get something through the cup here.
Seeing a lot of the same familiar faces. VO Gauthier, Labonte, clearly out of bounds here, right on the line. Young's out there as well. McDonald, Lagasse, Olivia Fan, Ariel Liu.
Could see a little frustration in Labonte there, knowing he might have been able to control his feet a touch better.
Trahan. Winning it out there, and Palmer Lowe almost there. A couple passes just out of the reach of number 2 there for the Cavaliers.
It's a difficult place to put your cutter. They were making an in cut and the handler waved them off to turn and go out, and the disc went over your head. To catch that directly over your head coming in, that's a really hard read.
Young pushing it through to Labonte. Staying in bounds this time, making sure as well. Gauthier swinging it there. There we go to the far side. It's blocked though by the Cavaliers. Great play. And Lenore Bezozi coming with a huge potential game-altering block here.
And a nice slow walk, setting up the offense, not in a rush.
Bobbled, but caught, waiting for the observer signal here. It's a bit of a delay. It is, in fact, a hold for this Cavalier side.
I really like the Cavaliers. They set their offense up. The handler walked to the disc, really quite a long walk, but truthfully, like, took the time and got his players where they wanted to score a critical goal.
Palmer Lowe getting herself on the stat sheet with that one. 8-6 the scoreline here. That's Marauders sending up out their offensive line.
The Marauders will have the wind here, so I'm pretty sure we may see a little bit more downfield play from them. They've been trying to swing the disc and deal with the zone. Let's see if they start to open it up a little bit. Maybe not full downfield shots, but even going for 10 and 15-yard gains.
Brown back out there here. On offense, Caro, Fan, Liu, Young, Gauthier.
Yeah, Young seems like an endless amount of energy.
Yes,
if he's going to
is,
run some give and goes
that.
through the handling position, they might get some open power position looks downfield if he can get some separation on those little give and goes.
For Mitchell-Montcalm, it's a lot of upwind, downwind, potentially some players playing on one side of the field. Leonard going exclusively left to right on your screen with the pull there. Caro putting it up for Fan. Good idea though, with Fan streaking deep and very open.
Yeah, there's the downfield look. I thought they might take just having that little bit of help with the wind.
Leonard gonna have to deal with the person defense here. Good catch in traffic from Jelinek.
Leonard not afraid to rip it when as soon as the cup's not in front of her. You go to a straight mark, it's upfield.
Moran a little size advantage here on Young. See if he takes advantage, perhaps transitioning into a cutter space here.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. There is a pretty good height discrepancy in a couple of these matchups. Abandon your handler position if you have to and take it in the end zone. Nothing better than a handler strike every once in a while, right?
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch for sure. Drouin, one of the Fringants players we mentioned previously, on the mark. Inside shot from Brown. Was looking for Gauthier, and great second effort there from Caro. And a timeout called by Christophe Morin. Trying to settle things down here. Trying to take that 3-point lead would be a significant advantage at this juncture of the game here, with just about an hour having been played. So 15 minutes left. A smart timeout from Christophe Morin.
Yeah, you often ask me about the timeouts. Less for resting or changing the flow of the game. I like this one because the clock is now part of the enemy, and I like burning a minute, minute and a half. I'm not sure the official time, but burning some time now. You still get some coaching in, and you have the disc to maybe go score another goal. But I like that clock management.
With the time we have in the timeout, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. Welcome back. Cavaliers up 8-6 here. In this big-time Pool A matchup. Justin Lee getting involved, making sure they actually don't start it too prematurely here.
Haven't seen that in a while. The observer actually stepping between the mark and the handler to stop the game from starting.
Players, it's a good learning experience, having never played with observers or maybe once or twice. So it's good that observers really helping out the youth out here. Pass over to Leonard, doorstep of the end zone. Leonard, big flick fake. And going up the line with a burst of speed for the score and the break.
Theo, can I point out, Leonard, with the fake, and had wherewithal and patience that she took her throwing hand off the disc, dried it on her shorts, and then gets a grip on the disc and throws for the point. Like, how calm and confident do you have to be as a handler at the front of the end zone to actually dry your hand and take that stall count?
This is the analysis we need right now from you, Andrew, because I didn't even see that in the same way that you did. So you see the veteran presence there, the wherewithal for them. This is the 4th time the Mitchell-Montcalm Cavaliers have played in this tournament. And they're excited because it's a young squad that had some older players, and I think it's a similar story to Merivale where you had a good team and you're perhaps looking to make the bracket, making a big run at this tournament in 2020, but then of course we know what happened. So this opportunity for these younger players to carry what was started by some of those veterans of the past is pretty cool to see.
And for Merivale, I mean, they come in, they're a 16th seed, but they were speaking about how much they've built and learned even in the first couple of games today, and the players are just thrilled because they're getting to see what it's like to play against national level competition. I mean, they have a couple of club players, don't get me wrong, but they're getting to really see what it's like to be here and build the program again. It has been around for a while, but they're not sort of hanging on that 16th seed. They're learning. They're here, and they want to bring all that in as much as they can. The players are having a blast. We saw them at our bye, and, you know, they're loving life.
It's a great venue here in Ajax, Ontario. Ultimate Canada putting on a great event for these high school athletes, and you've heard me talk about this at length, folks, but keep an eye out for junior club because you're going to see a lot of them out here making the same waves. We saw, for example, Cooper Pollitt and Russell for SJR, big team players for Team Manitoba, both on the open and women's side. So you're going to see more of that throughout this weekend. Stay tuned for more action coming at you tomorrow with quarterfinals starting at, I believe it's 10:30 a.m.
Bright and early for you, Theo.
That is a good point.
I will say, Theo, as the elder statesman of the group here, seeing a lot of the talent on these teams, like the top players and the club players, the game is in good hands. There is such a high amount of skill for how young these players are.
Been really impressed with, speaking of young talent, been really impressed with 16 there, Young and Brown, really being calm in the handler space.
Is that 16A or is that 16B?
Depends what you look at here. Chiquan, been impressive in his own right as a, they've been playing a lot of defense coming from that side, but he's been able to organize a lot of things defensively and then become a big-time shooter on offense. Little split stack action here. Gagne couldn't get there because Brown did a great job defensively.
Yeah, he picked the right line to go and be able to block out the offensive player from getting that. That's a great read of the disc.
You hear some shouting from Logan Keylor, helping out this Merivale side, telling them to get the disc right away. Brown inside to Fan.
It's nice hands. That thing had some mustard on it, getting through the cup.
We've seen a couple drops earlier from a high mustardy kind of throw with some zip on it. So Brown going around. Donald Lagasse continue things over to Beach, and that's what you want to see. I know that's what you're going to say there, Andrew.
That's what I want to see. Get it off this line. They are on this line so often. That was a good spot. It didn't connect, but that was the spot they wanted. The cup had opened up, had the receiver.
Trahan taking his time, and that's what the Cavaliers have been doing. A split stack action still happening for them. Has a receiver going deep, going to put up the big backhand Fan in coverage. That throw is going to go over both of their heads. Marie Pomerleau was the intended receiver, but Fan did a great job of boxing out and making Pomerleau take a line probably she didn't want.
Could also see Fan reenacting. She was blocking the sun. I think both players may have lost that in the sun because we're getting a little bit of a setting lower sun now.
Labonte did a good job of reading the disc, but
I think that's another case. That disc was looking straight back into the sun, made the read.
This split sack allowing them to send a couple people going deep. They're going to do just that once again. Pomerleau, Leah this time. Great shot from Chiquan.
Feel like we're at the carnival. 3 shots for $1 downfield. They can run the third. It looks like they're actively going for those deep shots to maybe try and put this game away, knowing time is getting close.
I've never heard that before on a broadcast, Andrew, and that just made me chuckle. That was a great throw from Edan Chiquan.
Well, I mean, they're going to the well. They went for the same play 3 times in a row. It did convert this time, so they're looking for that long game.
I see all of Merivale huddling on the side here. Wondering if they're calling a timeout.
Yeah, I feel like that's the unofficial timeout.
The unofficial timeout is true. I don't think you have time to really call that right now with it being 4:08 local time.
Four points, it's still doable. We're getting tight on time, so they're really going to have to keep this going. Probably not even give up another point, truthfully. Like, they're going to have to run the table, I think, to do this just based on clock.
Got to be hold and then break to make things happen here.
Not that we're asking too much of them, right?
Once again, it's easier for us to say this up here than it is for them to do it down there. So
we're only asking them to get more breaks in the next 10 and 15 minutes that I've got my whole career, probably of 20 years. So, but point being, they still have chance. The clock isn't that far down. And the pull is giving them a little bit of help, shorter pull.
Jelinek on the mark, guarding Gauthier, excuse me. Looking for some cuts.
Yeah, the stack didn't activate until stall 2 or 3. That was a late start for the stack.
Inside shot coming from Tang. Couple receivers there, but it's knocked away. Paquet has been going left to right on your screen, pretty much exclusively. Noah Leonard on this point here for the Cavaliers.
See the frustration from Civic. He got his hand on it. He probably feels if I touch it, I should catch it. You know, a lot of receivers are like that, but that's a tough catch.
Big block from Patrick. Getting horizontal to smack that away. Keep the hopes alive here for the Marauders.
So Theo, you think the Marauders have to start looking downfield, start taking those big chunk plays now? I mean, it's what the Cavaliers did the last couple of times, right? Shooting downfield with the big ones.
Time not on the side of this auto right now. Wapake going to walk over it, take a breath here as Moran.
Yeah. Going to say that's another one of those veteran time moves. Walk toward. Oh, no.
We say veteran, but they're just in high school. But hey, if
veteran.
They've been playing for a few years, they know some veteran moves. We've seen how Leonard has really flexed the offense here with her spacing, as an example.
Well, and that was a great move. Just walk away from the disc, take the extra 10 or 12 seconds it takes to get another handler in there.
You saw him working really hard up the line, gets a disc now. But there is a pick. I was wondering how
that's pretty open.
How she got that open there. Pomerleau on the reception, Gauthier calling the pick.
I feel like that was a pretty easy call to make.
When you see someone open the end zone, usually it's a result of a call like that. Ran a couple fakes now. Stall getting higher. Way to attack that disc for the score. The Cavaliers can taste it now.
Yeah, that might be the that might be sealed the fate. Even if Merivale can off a couple of quick ones, I think time is the enemy now.
De Rousseau Benjamin coming down with the score for the Cavaliers. And 11-6, you mentioned that score line, and things starting to get away from the Marauders right now.
Was a good attack, as you said, too, in the end zone. Two hands, strong grasp on that disc, making sure that wasn't dropping that goal.
And that's something a lot of the young players are continuing to learn, right, is you need to attack. You need to make sure that you're not giving the defense a chance, because at this level especially, there's going to be a lot of bids coming.
For sure.
So you got to prevent those from happening.
Get the arms out, extend in front of you, get that extra distance out to the disc. Make the defender have to go as far as possible around, or hopefully not through you, but around you to get to that disc, right?
If you're the Merivale coaches right now, what are you saying to your squad with the scoreline the way it is and the time?
Finish strong. You still want to set the tone and show the players for next game, for tomorrow. The tournament's not over anymore, right? You still have games tomorrow. So set the tone, play hard, play through to the final horn, I guess it would be. I was going to say final whistle. But you still have to do things the right way.
Brown still back out there quarterbacking things. Gauthier as well.
Oof, forcing that in. Yeah.
Point and shoot here, fakes it, didn't even have the disc in his hand.
Get it across the
Young.
field. Going right back to this sideline. I'd really like to see them go to the far side of the field and utilize the full width.
We're hearing them yell swing as well from the far sideline, the Merivale coaching staff here.
We're also hearing some parents behind us saying dump and swing as well. So they have a good bit
Wow, I think they're going to go deep, but let's see what happens. Couple players going deep, almost 3 of them at one point. Inside shot, finds Bisson. Nice shoestring grab from Gravel, who got the block earlier. Hand still must be hurting from that one. That was a big flick to take into the arms.
That was a nice setup. 3 people start deep, and then one comes back under for the wide open
set
cut.
play too.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Bisson chewing up yards underneath, finds his teammate. Continuing things over, and that's how they finish it. Brulé-Ferrer. Cavaliers take this one 12-6. They'll be into the, they got to be feeling good right now.
Yeah, they've performed well. They're going to have a big day tomorrow with something to play for. Merivale as well, they showed well for the first half. They did well, but I think they're going to build on it as well, and their coaches are going to take it back and actually talk to their players, and they'll do well. They'll be back, and I'm not too worried about them. They've had some flashes of good play in that game.
So that concludes day one coverage of the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. Stay tuned for quarterfinal action coming at you at 10:30 local time. That's Eastern tomorrow on the Ultimate Canada YouTube page. Thank you for tuning in. If you've been watching all 3 games, a special shout out to you as well. So for Andrew Portwine, I'm Theo Wan. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.